The suspected Georgia school shooter making his first court appearance after this week's deadly attack. The judge warning him that he could face life in prison. The 14-year-old's father sobbing uncontrollably in court at his own hearing. He's charged in connection with the tragedy after telling investigators he purchased the gun used in the killing as a holiday present for his son last year. So let's bring in Rebecca Rose Woodland, a New York-based trial attorney. Rebecca, great to have you on the show this morning. I want to ask you about two charges that I find interesting. First, charging a 14-year-old as an adult. How uncommon would that be, and how likely is that for him to be found guilty as an adult?
You know, unfortunately in Georgia, when there are felony murders like this, that is their law. Every state is different, right? We're looking at Georgia. Now, his defense counsel has already indicated that they are going to try to oppose that and have him still be charged as a juvenile. Hopefully, in that, he can possibly see some sort of parole at some point in his future. We're also seeing indications that the child may have been suffering from severe mental illness and that there may be a history of that.
I don't know if it's the right call or wrong call, but I find it interesting when I find that that's a legal hurdle that'll be interesting to watch, 14 tried as an adult. And then the father. I know we had the Crumley case in Michigan some time back. Prosecuting parents for the actions of their child. We just mentioned he gave the kid, who would have been, I guess, 13 at the time then, a gun, and so the kid had full access to the gun, and that potentially makes the parent culpable.
In this situation, I think it's very fact-specific. The Georgia prosecutors are looking at this case saying the FBI came to this home approximately a year before the shooting last week. They indicated to the parents that there was some sort of forum where the child was posting that he wanted to commit a school shooting. They couldn't verify for sure. The child said, no, my account was hacked. But they told the father and the mother, now at some point thereafter, the mother left the household. But they did indicate to the father, this child cannot have a gun. He cannot have a firearm.
Right.
There is no way that you can allow this because he's under suspicion for some very aggressive, violent threats. So I think the fact-specific aspect of this is what's going to allow that prosecutor to at least proceed on the manslaughter charges.
A lot of warning signs. A lot of warning signs here in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to move to this. Judge Juan Marchand in New York postponed Donald Trump's sentencing until November 26th, after the election. I'm curious, every step of the way throughout this trial, Judge Marchand has been, I would personally say, aggressive towards Donald Trump, not friendly to the defense. And then all of a sudden he's going to delay sentencing. I mean, from the outside, I'm looking at this going, what's the motivation? Clearly, every time Donald Trump's been indicted or they've gone after him, his poll numbers and fundraising have gone up. And Marchand has seemed very political. Was this a political calculation by Marchand? I
mean, it seems to me that he's in a pickle, right? Judge Marchand's in a pickle. What do? I sentence someone who's running right now, the forerunner. He will probably be elected president. I sentence him before he gets elected. When the Supreme Court came down with a case that pretty much invalidates the entire state court case,
right,
all of the evidence, how do you do that? So, of course, there's going to be an appeal. The Supreme Court already said the evidence you used in this case, Prosecutor Alvin Bragg, cannot be used against a former president.
Because of presidential immunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at then is a situation where Judge Marchand's probably saying, well, if I sentence him, that's not going to work. And if I wait, at least we'll see what's going to happen.
Right.
And, you know, he'll probably, and anyone who read the Supreme Court decision should just reverse.
Yeah, it's a bad legal decision, which will probably be one on appeal at some level.
Sure.
I also think that Marchand's a political character. And at some point you have to look at the political calculation as well. I think he did.
Yeah.
And go, wow, this will help Donald Trump if I sentence him.
Well,
probably. We'll never know at this point. But
yeah, we'll never know. But I mean, it certainly couldn't hurt Donald Trump because it would be really obstruction of justice at this point. And it would really be election interference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Rebecca Rose Woodland, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Will.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.